Hello, and welcome back. I'm sitting here in my car in front of the hangar looking at the Bonanza, and we got halfway through installing the propeller yesterday.
Yeah?
That's a huge win for me. It's been a long time. It's been about a month and a half since I've flown this airplane, I think. It was way before my birthday when this thing went down. And then, you celebrated my birthday in St. Kitts with me, where we went off the grid and we just had a great time. But now it's time to get back into travels. I want to go visit my brother. I want to go to places that I've never been to in small airplanes, and visit some of you who've graciously opened up your hearts to receiving a guy that you hardly know over the internet to come visit and see your town. This could be the beginning of a really good horror story, but I promise it will not be that dramatic. Now, today's video is going to be a little bit interesting because it's not necessarily about flying or finishing up the prop install, although there will be a video on that. I just had to pop on here and give you some content that I think you could find useful, because for the past week, I have been sick. Something like a very, very bad flu. It was actually worse symptoms than when I had COVID. I was laid up in bed for the past week. I didn't even go to work, had to take PTO. I'm fortunate enough to work for a company that allows employees to take time off when they're not feeling 100%. So I took advantage of that and I rested up. And today is one of those days where I'm just out here at the hangar doing light work. Only going to stay out here about an hour because my body's still regulating or getting back to normal. And I don't want to be out here too long and push myself too hard. But the reason I brought that up is because naturally my illness made me think of you. And while that might sound a little bit weird, I think it was a natural chance for me to talk about a topic that I haven't had a chance to touch on just yet. And that is the idea of medicals, class 1, class 2, first class, second class, third class medicals. If you are a private pilot or you're going through flight training and you have no aspirations of going off to the airlines and being the next best airline pilot, you would probably have heard about the class 3 medical, and that's probably what you have. It's just a doctor saying that you are fit to fly this airplane under these specific rules or these specific things that he or she is going to check. You're cleared to go fly an airplane by yourself and have some fun. That's a class 3 medical. You can then step that up to a class 2, or if you're going to go be a professional pilot, step it all the way up to a class 1. As you will know, if you read the regs or if you go through ground school, a class 1 is the most stringent. It's got all the major restrictions and it's the least amount of time in between check-ins, right? So, think of the class 1 as the least amount of time required for you to go back in and prove that you're actually fit to fly. And the older you get, the smaller that time window becomes as well, regardless of whether you have a class 1 or class 3 or a class 2. Now, why I bring that up is because it got me thinking, now that I've been sick for a week, and I'm getting better, don't feel bad for me, but it got me thinking about the people who don't realize that there's another level to these medicals, and it's called BasicMed. It's essentially just you and a conversation with your primary healthcare physician or your PCP, or someone a doctor you can go to who understands these rules, and they will give you an examination or they'll give you a set of tests to prove whether or not you qualify to fly an airplane onto what's called BasicMed. And I'm not doing the best job of explaining exactly what it is. I don't have the regs in front of me. I'm just spitballing here. But BasicMed is an excellent way to safeguard your class 3 medical. And here's why this is important. You can be the holder of a class 3 medical, and to no fault of your own, maybe you went in for a physical 1 year and someone discovered a lump or a bump or a pimple or something weird on a screen or a scan. And even though that might not be detrimental to your health in the short term, it could be detrimental to your flying career in the short term if it's something that disqualifies you from holding a class 3 medical. So it got me thinking, that in order to prevent myself from falling into the category of a person who is perfectly physically fine to fly. I mean, right now I wouldn't because, I'm too close to my illness, but, next week, yeah, of course. But let's just say, there was a bump on my skin or something that I saw, something benign, but something that would ultimately disqualify me from holding a Class 3 medical. I would have to go through a really long fight with the FAA, the Aeromedical Office, to try to get my Class 3 medical back. And you could be talking months, you could be talking years. The backlog that I've seen out there is kind of ridiculous, actually. It takes people entirely too long to get their medicals back. So here's an easy safeguard. You can hold both a Class 3 medical and have basic med at the exact same time. And I don't currently, but that is absolutely something that I am going to pursue, because the fear of being fit enough to go fly myself or a passenger, from here to St. Simon's Island and have barbecue or go hang out on the beach this summer, the fear of losing access to that because, something simple popped up and disqualified me from my Class 3 medical is enough to whip me into shape to want to go talk to my PCP, Nicole. Hey, Nicole, probably not a subscriber, but thank you for the time that you've spent with me. I think I'm going to just, bite the bullet and go do that and get ready for something like that, right? So think about it, talk about it in the comments, talk to your primary healthcare provider, talk to your AME about that path, the Class 3 basic med combined path, because, like I said, the rules are so specific, and the things that can disqualify you from having a Class 3 are so well defined and so tightly monitored. And in a world where everything is connected, and every time a report pops up, it gets copied and forwarded on to some other government institution or leaked somewhere, I'm not going to play games with my Class 3 medical anymore. So this is something that I'm going to go talk to my AME about. His name's Dr. Roth. He's here in Savannah. Great guy, really interesting character. I really like just talking to him. I went and saw him a couple months ago to get my Class 3 renewed, and he was happy to try to find some time to come and talk to us here on the channel. So we'll find an episode that works to fill him in, and maybe it could become a recurring thing, because these things are important. These are the things that are taking away some of our freedoms. These are the things that are making it a lot more difficult and a lot more expensive to fly. Imagine you get to the point where you can finally afford a 1963 Beechcraft Bonanza P-35 like I'm looking at outside my window, and then have to spend tens of thousands of dollars on top of that working through the medical process just to get your Class 3 back. And if you get disqualified from having the Class 3, you can't then go pick up the basic med, right? You have to have had it in place before. You have had to have had the basic med issued at some point in the past. So let's think about these things. Keep me in your thoughts as I kind of climb this hill and get back up to 100%. I don't think you'll see any disruptions in the videos, because I am in the background consistently making videos that I think I'm going to post a month away from now. So I have a nice little catalog built up so I can keep this entertainment coming. If I go off on vacation and I have to turn the internet off for, a month or so for some reason, I don't know, the content will still come. So just keep me in your thoughts. We're going to try to get this airplane wrapped up, and, let me show it to you real quick. Yeah, there she is. Yeah. We're going to try to get that wrapped up. Going to try to get her back flying. It's just a matter of time before I'm making all my final preparations for Oshkosh and trying to make it up there in that thing. Either that thing, the Arrow, or I'll be flying commercial. I don't have a preference one way or the other. I just want to be there with you all and try to say hello. But again, think about it. Study up the regs. Learn as much as you can about Class 1, 2, and 3 medicals, and then really dive into basic med. It's a freebie that we've been thrown, right? It's almost a freebie that we've been thrown by the FAA, and we might as well start taking advantage of it. It's also on you to educate your PCP on BasicMed. A lot of them don't feel comfortable filling out a form that will be sent off to the FAA. It's not something that they were taught to do in school, so it becomes a challenge to get them to agree to do something like that. But whatever. We will get there. There will always be someone a state away or maybe a city away who's able to do that for you. Just think about doing it, and do it before it's too late. Do it before you discover something that actually grounds you. Do it before the dream slips away. No fault of your own. So, all right, keep being good to each other. Take those checkups. Have you had a flu shot lately? I haven't. But have you? And we'll see you again next time.